The conspiracy unveiled. Dawn arrived with deceptive tranquility. Liesa slipped through the palace corridors while most of the court still slept, her heart hammering against her ribs. She left her veil behind, a small act of defiance that felt monumental. The Eastern Gardens were Astraevan's oldest section, where ancient trees with silver bark grew in spiraling patterns around bioluminescent pools. Kale waited beside the largest pool, his travel pack already secured to his shoulders, looking every bit the explorer ready to depart. His face transformed when he saw her. "You came, and He gestured to her unveiled face where the scars caught the early light. "If I'm going to fight for this, I should start by being honest about who I am." Liesa moved into his arms, feeling the rightness of his embrace, "even if it terrifies me. Especially then." He kissed her forehead, her scarred cheek, her lips. "I spoke with Ambassador Rhine last night. There's a provision in the treaty for cultural exchange programs, scientific collaboration between our worlds." "Kale, what are you saying?" "I'm saying I have a legitimate reason to return, multiple times, extended visits." His eyes blazed with determination. "And eventually, if you want it, a reason for you to visit Earth, to see what's beyond Astraevan's borders." Hope bloomed painful and bright in Liesa's chest. "My mother would never allow." "Then we convince her. Show her that you're not a danger, that your gifts could benefit both our worlds." He cupped her face. "I'm not giving up on this. On us." "Princess Liesa!" Captain Voss's voice shattered the moment. He strode into the gardens with 4 guards, his expression grim. "Step away from the Earth diplomat." Liesa's blood ran cold. "Captain, this is hardly—" "Councillor Draven has called an emergency session of the Royal Council. Your presence is required immediately." Voss's hand rested on his energy weapon. "Mr. Thorne, you will accompany us as well." "On what grounds?" Kale demanded, his arms still around Liesa's waist. "On grounds of suspected diplomatic manipulation and endangerment of the royal heir." Draven emerged from behind the silver trees, his expression triumphant. "Did you think your midnight meetings went unnoticed? Your inappropriate intimacy with our princess? There's nothing inappropriate about 2 adults choosing to spend time together," Liesa said, voice steady despite her racing heart. "You were not simply 2 adults. You were the heir to Astraevan's throne, marked by forces we barely understand, and he is a foreign agent who has clearly exploited your isolation." Draven's smile was cold. "The council will determine his intentions and your compromised judgment." The council chamber was already filled when they arrived. Queen Miranda on her throne, her expression carefully neutral, surrounded by the 12 elders who advised the crown. Sarah stood in the corner, wringing her hands. Ambassador Rhine looked equally concerned, flanked by his own security detail. "This is highly irregular, Councillor Draven. Disrupting a diplomatic departure with accusations." "Forgive me, Your Majesty, but the evidence demands immediate attention." Draven activated a holographic display and Liesa's stomach dropped. Images filled the air, her and Kale in the observatory, their bodies close, her scars blazing with light, their kiss captured from multiple angles, their embrace in the gardens just moments ago. Each image carefully chosen, carefully framed to look clandestine and dangerous. As you can see, the Earth diplomat has gained unprecedented access to Princess Liesa, access that resulted in, Draven paused dramatically, activation of her unstable energy signatures. Her scars reached luminescence levels we haven't seen since the original explosion. Murmurs rippled through the council. Elder Kasim leaned forward, his ancient face creased with concern. "Is this true, Princess? Did your scars react more strongly in this man's presence?" Liesa lifted her chin. "Yes, but not dangerously. They respond to emotion, something they've always done. Strong emotions simply create stronger responses." "And what emotions, precisely, was Mr. Thorne inducing?" Draven's tone dripped with insinuation. "That's enough," Queen Miranda snapped. "My daughter's personal feelings are not subject to council interrogation. They are when those feelings threaten the stability of our kingdom." Draven's composure cracked slightly. "We all remember what happened 16 years ago. 6 people died because of an energy surge we still don't understand. And now this explorer appears, deliberately cultivates intimacy with our marked princess, and those same dangerous energies activate? How can we be certain this isn't a calculated attack, a way to weaponize her instability?" Kale stepped forward, his voice cutting through the rising chaos. "That's absurd. I came here for diplomatic alliance, not manipulation. What Princess Liesa and I feel for each other is genuine." What you feel is irrelevant, Elder Vena said sharply. The princess cannot afford personal entanglements that compromise her safety or ours. Then perhaps, Kale said quietly, the problem isn't the princess. Perhaps the problem is a court so terrified of her power that they'd rather lock her away than understand what she's capable of. The chamber erupted. Half the council shouted in outrage, the other half in reluctant agreement. Queen Moran called for order, her voice strained. Enough! Draven's voice rose above the din. I propose immediate termination of the Earth Alliance and expulsion of their delegation. Furthermore, I recommend increased restrictions on Princess Liessa until we can properly assess. The explosion cut him off. It came from the eastern wing, a thunderous blast that shook the palace to its foundations. Alarms shrieked. The holographic displays flickered and died. Through the chamber's windows, Liessa saw smoke rising from the direction of the diplomatic quarters. The Earth delegation's rooms, Ambassador Ryan said, his face draining of color. Our staff! Evacuate the council, Captain Voss ordered, his training overriding politics. Your Majesty, this way. No, Queen Moran's voice was steel. Find my people. Find who is hurt. Draven, get emergency medical teams to that wing. Chaos descended. Council members fled. Guards rushed toward the explosion site. In the confusion, Kale grabbed Liessa's hand. Are you all right? I'm fine, but Kale, your people. Stay here. Let the guards handle it. But Liessa was already moving, running toward the eastern wing with Kale by her side. They arrived to find the diplomatic quarters in ruins. Walls collapsed, furniture shattered, fires burning in scattered patches. The acrid smell of chemical explosives hung heavy in the air. Here, someone shouted. Ambassador Ryan and 2 Earth staff members were pulling themselves from the wreckage, bloodied but alive. There are 3 more trapped inside. Liessa didn't think. She simply acted. Her hands came up, and for the first time since childhood, she reached for the power sleeping in her scars instead of suppressing it. They blazed like captured suns, blue-white light pouring from every line and curve. Energy flowed through her, foreign yet familiar, terrifying yet intoxicating. She directed it toward the collapsed section, using it like invisible hands to lift debris, to create a path. Liessa, what are you doing? Kale grabbed her arm, his eyes wide. What I should have learned to do years ago. Sweat beaded on her forehead from the effort, but she didn't stop, couldn't stop. 3 people were trapped because someone wanted to destroy the Alliance, because someone feared what she represented. The debris shifted, groaning. A passage opened. Guards rushed in, pulling out 3 injured Earth staffers. The last one emerged just as Liessa's strength gave out. She collapsed, Kale catching her before she hit the ground. I've got you, he murmured. I've got you. Her scars were still glowing, pulsing with residual energy, but she was conscious, aware, in control. She'd used her power deliberately and hadn't hurt anyone. The realization was staggering. Captain Voss approached, his expression complex. The medical teams are treating the injured. None of the wounds appear life-threatening, thanks to... He looked at Liessa. Thanks to your highness. Find who did this, she said weakly. This wasn't an accident. I'm already on it. He hesitated, then added, That was brave, what you did. Foolish, perhaps, but brave. As he strode away barking orders, Sarah appeared with blankets and water. She wrapped one around Liessa's shoulders while Kale helped her drink. The Queen is asking for you, she quietly said. Both of you. They found Queen Miranda in her private study, Counselor Draven already present. The Queen's face was drawn but composed. Mr. Thorne, I apologize for the attack on your delegation. Rest assured, we will find those responsible. Your Majesty, with respect, I think we already know. Kale met Draven's eyes directly. This explosion, the timing is too convenient. Right after accusations against your daughter, right when our alliance was being questioned. You dare accuse a royal counselor? Draven began. I dare accuse whoever tried to murder my people to prove a point about Princess Liessa being dangerous, Kale said, his voice hard as steel. Someone wanted to create chaos, to blame her, to destroy the alliance. Who benefits from that, Counselor? Draven's face flushed. Your paranoia is justified. Captain Voss entered, holding a datapad. Your Majesty, we found the explosive devices. Military grade, palace issued. Only council-level clearance could access them. He turned the datapad toward Draven, and surveillance shows someone with your biometric signature entering the diplomatic wing early this morning. The color drained from Draven's face. This is fabricated, a conspiracy. The only conspiracy here is yours, Queen Moran said, her voice colder than stars. You feared my daughter since the explosion. I've tolerated it out of respect for your service. But attempting to murder diplomatic guests to prove your paranoid theories? She stood, regal and terrifying. Guards,
Arrest Counselor Draven on charges of attempted murder, treason, and sabotage of interplanetary alliance. Draven struggled as guards seized him, his composure finally cracking. You don't understand what she is, what she could become. I was protecting Asteroid Vaughn. You were protecting your own fear, Liesa said, stepping forward despite her exhaustion. And in doing so, you became exactly what you accused me of being, a danger to our people. As Draven was dragged away, still protesting, Queen Moran turned to her daughter. Her expression softened slightly. You saved those people, used your power consciously for the first time since childhood. I had to. I couldn't let anyone else die because of me. They didn't die because of you, Liesa. They would have died because of a frightened man's hatred. The queen looked between her daughter and Kale, reading the obvious connection. It seems, Mr. Thorne, that your presence has catalyzed significant change in my daughter. Your Majesty, I'm not entirely certain whether to thank you or be concerned. A faint smile touched her lips.
The choice of crowns and hearts. 3 months transformed everything. Draven's arrest sent shockwaves through Astravion's court. His conspiracy reached deeper than anyone anticipated. A network of nobles who'd spent years undermining Liesa's position, spreading fear about her power, attempting to influence Queen Miranda toward increasingly restrictive measures. The trials were public, deliberate, and conclusive. By the end, 7 council members faced charges ranging from conspiracy to attempted regicide. But Draven's downfall created an unexpected opening. Public opinion, seeing Liesa deceive the Earth delegates, began to shift. The girl they'd whispered about became the princess who'd acted courageously. The scars they'd feared became marks of power wielded with control and compassion. Liesa stood before her mirror, studying her reflection in the morning light. Today, she wore no veil. Her formal gown was midnight blue, cut to showcase rather than hide the luminescent patterns across her skin. Her scars glowed softly, responding to the nervous energy thrumming through her veins. Nervous? Sarah asked, adjusting the gown's draping. Terrified, Liesa admitted. What if they still see the monster? Then they're blind. Sarah stepped back, smiling. You look like what you are, Your Highness. Powerful, beautiful, ready. The throne room had been transformed for the occasion, not the formal council chamber, but the great hall where the entire court could gather. Hundreds had assembled, nobility, merchants, scholars, common citizens who'd petitioned for attendance. At the front, Queen Miranda sat on her throne, her expression serene. Beside her, a second throne had been placed, smaller, symbolic, waiting. And at the base of the steps, Cale Thorne stood with Ambassador Rhine and the Earth delegation. 3 months. He'd stayed for 3 months, ostensibly to oversee the Alliance's implementation, to ensure his injured staff recovered properly, to consult on the new cultural exchange programs. But Liesa knew the truth. He'd stayed for her. They'd spent nearly every day together, in the observatory, in the gardens, in countless stolen moments throughout the palace. He taught her about Earth, about the diversity of human culture, about planets she'd only seen through telescopes. She'd taught him about Astravion's history, her people's customs, the delicate balance of court politics. They'd explored her power together, carefully, scientifically, discovering its nuances. The scars responded to deep emotion, not just fear or stress, but joy, desire, love. They could project energy, manipulate light, even interface with certain technologies in ways the royal scientists were still analyzing. Under Cale's patient encouragement, Liesa had learned to channel rather than suppress, to use rather than fear. And somewhere in those 3 months, what had begun as attraction had deepened into something neither could deny. People of Astravion, Queen Miranda's voice rang out, commanding instant silence. We gather today at a crossroads. For 16 years, we have allowed fear to dictate our treatment of my daughter, Princess Liesa. Fear born of tragedy, yes, but fear nonetheless. Today, we choose a different path. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Liesa stood at the entrance of the hall, watching, waiting for her cue. My daughter possesses gifts we do not fully understand, power that could, in theory, harm. But as you witnessed 3 months ago, power is not inherently dangerous. Intent is. And Liesa has proven her intent repeatedly to protect, to serve, to use her gifts for the benefit of our people. Elder Kasim stepped forward, his voice carrying surprising strength for his age.
Your Majesty, the Council has reviewed Princess Liessa's actions extensively. We have consulted with scientists, scholars, and the Earth delegation's energy specialists. Our conclusion is unanimous. He turned to face the crowd. Princess Liessa Varen is not a threat to Astravion. She is an asset. Her abilities, properly understood and supported, could advance our civilization significantly. Which is why, Queen Miranda said, standing, I am formally naming my daughter as my heir apparent. She will train to assume the throne when I deem her ready with full authority and recognition. The hall erupted in applause, not universal, but substantial, enough to matter, enough to mark real change. Liessa, Queen Miranda called, join us. This was the moment. Liessa had faced it in nightmares for years, walking before the assembled court, her scars visible, subject to their judgment. But Kale's eyes found hers across the distance, warm and encouraging, and she remembered his words, "You're not damaged. You're extraordinary." She walked forward with her head high, her scars glowing softly in response to her pounding heart. The crowd parted before her, and if some still stared with unease, others smiled. Captain Voss nodded respectfully. Sarah dabbed tears from her eyes. Young children pointed with wonder rather than fear. Liessa ascended the steps and knelt before her mother. The queen placed a hand on her head, the traditional gesture of blessing and acceptance. Rise, heir apparent, and know that your kingdom stands with you. As Liessa stood, taking her place on the smaller throne, she felt something shift fundamentally. She was still scarred, still marked by tragedy, but she was no longer defined solely by that tragedy. There is one more matter, the queen announced. As part of our alliance with Earth, we are establishing a program of cultural and scientific exchange. Astravion will send representatives to Earth to learn from their civilization, and Earth will send representatives here to study our own advances. Ambassador Rhine stepped forward. Your Majesty, Earth is honored to participate. We believe this exchange will benefit both our worlds immeasurably. I agree, which is why I am sending my most qualified representative. Queen Miranda looked at her daughter, Liessa. You have studied the stars your entire life. You understand diplomacy, science, and the delicate balance of interplanetary relations. I can think of no one better suited to represent Astravion on Earth. Liessa's breath caught. Mother, this is not exile or punishment. This is opportunity, a chance to see the universe you've dreamed of, to use your gifts beyond these walls. The queen's smile was knowing. And Earth has requested a specific liaison, someone familiar with their culture, someone my daughter trusts. Kale stepped forward, his formal demeanor barely containing his smile. Your Majesty, I would be honored to serve as Princess Liessa's guide and partner in this endeavor, if she's willing. Partner, Liessa repeated, the word carrying layers of meaning. Her eyes met his, reading the hope and longing there. 3 months of growing closer, 3 months of falling in love with someone who saw her for exactly what she was and loved her anyway. What say you, daughter? Queen Miranda asked. Will you be Astravion's voice among the stars? Liessa looked out at the assembled court, at Sarah's encouraging nod, at the mixture of hope and apprehension on hundreds of faces, at Kale waiting with barely restrained emotion. Then she looked at her mother, seeing not just the queen but the woman who had protected her for 16 years, even if that protection had sometimes felt like prison. I will, Liessa said clearly, for Astravion, for our alliance, and for myself, to finally see what exists beyond our borders. The applause was thunderous this time. People cheered. Even the skeptical nobles couldn't deny the political brilliance of the move, sending the once feared princess as ambassador, turning her from liability to asset in one elegant stroke. As the formalities concluded, as the court celebrated and made plans, Kale found his way to Liessa's side. So, he said quietly, does this mean I get to keep you? It depends. Turned to face him fully, no longer caring who saw. Are you prepared for what comes with me? The power you don't fully understand, the baggage of fear and tragedy, the fact that I glow when I'm emotional? I'm especially prepared for that part. His hand cupped her scarred cheek and the familiar warmth spread through her. Liessa, I've traveled 17 star systems. I've seen wonders beyond imagination, but nothing compares to you. Your strength, your brilliance, the way you've transformed pain into purpose. He leaned closer. I don't want to keep you. I want to partner with you, explore with you, build something extraordinary together. That sounds dangerously like a proposal. It's a promise. The proposal comes later when we're standing under Earth's moon or exploring a nebula or wherever feels right. His thumb traced her scar gently. But yes, eventually I'm going to ask you to choose me, officially, permanently. And if I said I've already chosen, Liesa whispered, her heart full to bursting, that somewhere in the past 3 months you became essential to me, that I love you? Kale's smile could have lit the entire palace. Then I'd say I love you too, and that we're going to have the most incredible adventure. He kissed her there, in front of the assembled court, with Queen Miranda watching indulgently and Sarah crying happy tears. Liesa's scars blazed with brilliant light, not dangerous, not uncontrolled, but radiant with joy. The kind of joy she never imagined she could feel. When they finally broke apart, breathless and grinning, the court was still applauding, but Liesa barely heard them. All she could focus on was Kale's hand in hers, warm and steady and real. When do we leave? She asked. The transport departs in 3 weeks, gives you time to prepare, to say goodbyes, and gives me time to show you everything Earth has to offer. Oceans, mountains, cities that stretch for miles, a moon you can actually visit instead of just observe. No pressure, none at all. I should warn you though, Earth's going to love you. The girl with stars in her skin coming from a kingdom in the sky, you'll be a celebrity. I've been a spectacle before. At least this time it'll be on my terms. 6 months later, Liesa stood on Earth's surface for the first time, feeling genuine soil beneath her feet instead of palace crystal. The sun, singular, yellow,